Welcome aboard, everyone.
What exactly is Alpha Box, and why do our traders absolutely love it?
Michael Oshru.
All right, so we've got some new layouts. We've got the overclocked 14900. I wanted to talk about some really cool tools and some things that we have started to recognize. Now, let's take a peek here down here on my entry chart, and you want to notice something. So if we were to draw a vertical line here, and let's draw an arrow tool here, let's do some analysis here on what you see. What do you notice? Yes, Missile said it. AOs. So look at the AOs. What do you notice about the AOs from one section to another on the lowest time frames? Now, this can happen, say, like on the ES, on the high time frames. Sometimes things get a little clustered up. However, on the NASDAQ, this is rare. So what does this tell us? That is the question. I want you to remember this, put this into your notes. Today is one of the best days for notes that I think you're ever gonna have, because even myself, I have only recently discovered this myself. I joke with you guys on occasion to say, so I get an idea around building out a tool, I build out the tool, and then sometimes as the tool is built, I don't know all of its capabilities until later. It's sort of that, remember that movie? What was the name of that movie? Name that movie where he said, if you build it, they will come, the baseball movie with Kevin Costner. Field of Dreams, right? That's kind of what we do here sometimes. This is a personality type of day. If you have been around the markets long enough, you've experienced one of these with 100% certainty, you absolutely have. And what we have found with the Alpha Omegas is that, well, first we scroll over here to the left, and I wouldn't go too far because we know that yesterday was a massive trend day, which gave it away at the early part of the day. After hours, less so, and it doesn't have to do with the after hours, although, you know, there is a little bit of that. When you start to see this in the morning, that is likely to become, it's like the market has tipped its hand to us. And I won't go into the internals of how and why this mechanism works, but just know that, like, for me, I have validated for myself, I will be looking at this every single time. This originally came to us because people would say, hey, is there something wrong? Is there something wrong in the code? Like, this is weird. Something's wrong in the code today, or something's going on with their data. And you come to find out, no, it's not. That is exactly what is happening there. The algorithms that are going to be churning that day are literally starting to move back and forth to accumulate the size that they need to begin that grind. And then every pump fake move is going to end up being either bought or sold depending on the direction of that trend on that grinder. If you've been around the grinder days, you know those are some of the toughest on anybody. Now, there are some people who are, you know, buy and hold people, you know, they love them because they're just like, oh, it just keeps going up for me all day, and they can, you know, go do nothing. But for an active trader, this is torturous. Yes, the AO cluster, exactly. However, it can be a field of dreams, because if you can anticipate this, as Ryan said, a field of dreams, yes, the dream, imagine catching that grinder and riding it all the way. So giving an example of the highest time frame scenario, here was that gigantinormous, these are 89 ticks a piece for every single bar. The chukka down into it, and that morning it gave that same signal. Tons and tons of just alpha omega crosses like crazy, cluster all in this area, and then chukka, slow motion grind all day. Not even a midday turn. The midday turn was literally one bar, like right here. That was it. That was the only chance you had. One set of 89, and then continuing the march up. Chukka. And any one of these, even with that little tiny leg down, and even that one still drop down 70 plus ticks, and then yoink, chukka. Just continuous grind. And it told it to us. by seeing this right here. So take a screenshot of this. We're going to put this in. This is in the wisdom section inside of Discord now. This is how we anticipate a trend day. If you see this, like either one, step away, I'm not playing that day, or find the grind and just hold it out. That is not my favorite style of trading, which is why I wanted to know, how do I avoid the craziness? This is an amazing way to know that. I'm sure there are other ways as well. Yeah, technically this is contract rollover, so you know, some of this could have been because of that, but these are the days that you need to make sure like you don't end up in some blowout scenario. And this is a really great way to, in my opinion, feels very easy to me. I like to have quantitative ways to do things. So we're making some adjustments to our OBS layout here on our live streams. Hopefully you guys are going to like that. It'll be a little more work on my part, but I am trying to get some short keys and some hotkey things that will allow me to flip through screens. So we'll be able to hopefully kind of zoom in so that you guys can see absolutely everything. We've gotten a lot of feedback that people really want to see this as big as they possibly can. A lot of people are watching this from their phones. So I currently have this set to my sim account because I want to show you guys some examples of things that we can do with our new buttons. We're going to talk about the new buttons here in just a moment. We've got some new things over here. We've always, I don't want to say always, but for a while, the last few releases, we've had the flatten, half, and double. We've added 3 more buttons here: the bracket, add, stop, and naked. So we'll talk about how and when I'm using that. Have not had those until recently when we added those this week, but I have used, well, wanted to use them, but I've had to manually enter them. I just got tired of manually entering them because this month I'm really going all in. I had a week last week where I hit $250,000 in a single week. I had my first 6-figure day, 116,000 closed out in a single day. On that day, I was actually up as high as 178,000 in a single day. Insanity. Last moment, 415 obliteration as some market moving event. I believe it was in earnings. I don't even remember what company it was. I went and measured the move and it was 578 ticks in 12 seconds. That was insane. Back the other way, and I was holding on to positions there because again, I was up 178,000. I was swinging big. I was going all in on my positions. I had accumulated in what I call earned the risk because I was already up so much. So I was willing to take bigger risks. Again, some of that is not really necessarily good for everyone here. At the same time, we do have big traders here. So a lot of people are like, well, nobody trades that way. That's not true. We have some very large players here. We've got some people who, some people just bought some land in Arizona, bought themselves a nice gigantinormous mobile home and built out the entire house around it with the funds that they had earned from AlgoBox. We have people absolutely crushing it with bigger accounts. We have people that do trade 20 lots as their standard entry setup. Okay. In June, you guys have seen me smashing. I am hitting it large. I didn't even pull out so normally I'm starting at a 50K account and I'll be pulling out at the end of every week or every 2 weeks where I'm pulling out from that 50K to keep that account around the 50K. This time I have run it up. That account has been as high as $380,000 at some point and everything in between. So I have been swinging big. You guys have been seeing me, like some people come on the stream like, oh, Vinny, looks like you're in drawdown. I was like, yes. So what we have been seeing on the current live streams during June, I have been swinging big. Okay. Again, I feel like in my opinion, and you may differ, I feel like I have earned that risk. I've got it in the account. At some point I said, dude, I would be, if I lost all of this and went back down to 50K, I wouldn't care. At this point, the opportunity to push this month before July. Now, let me talk about why July. Number one, Mike Schwartz actually did a video recently showing that if you were to go, in the Trader's Almanac and look at the months of the year, the market has peaked out in July more times than any other month ever of all time, and we're at the all-time high. So we will likely peak out in July again. Now, at the same time, am I just going to go, okay, so you're going to go all in long? Not necessarily, but I just know anticipatorily that July could be a very large month. At the same time, I've shown you big accounts. So come July, I'm going to do a small account challenge again. And it also comes on the 3-year anniversary of me doing a small account challenge against one of the only challenges I've ever done where there wasn't death threats involved. No drama. It was amazing. So I'm hoping we have another drama-free July, starting in July. We started July the 5th. We know what we did is 138K, where he did about 36,000 in the same time period. Beat him by 100K. Now at the same time, it's like, well, Ross didn't know you're competing. Yeah, that was the beautiful thing, but he called it a challenge, so we called it a challenge too. We just compared. You're sad about it, sad face. Oh, well, he would have traded different. Okay, maybe. But all we did was go out and showcase our tools working in a small account. He said he was going to start with 2,500. I've told you guys, 2,500 is the absolute minimum, straight up, and not do a trader funding program. 2,500 is the absolute minimum because that allows you to trade 5 contracts of the $500 per contract margins on standard discount broker. So I know that's a mouthful, but all that to be said is that come July, I'm going to do another small account challenge. Who's excited about that? So guys want to see us do it is much easier to trade on a large account. I've said that before. Everybody should already know that. If you don't know it, there it is again. Here today, we'll talk about it. Much easier because you don't have to be as precise. You can get away with some wiggles. You can get away with some drawdown and positions coming back for you when you've got size. When you have a small account, you can't do that, right? So we've done a small account challenge before. It's a different style of trading. If you guys have seen me trade small account, it's rare. I don't do small account very often. At the same time, I also don't go all in very often like I have gone here in June to solidify and make the point. So come July, you're going to see a different style of trading from me. So bear with me a few more days. We still got about 10 plus days left, maybe 11 or so days left of this month. So I'll continue to smash large trades, smash some extra size, put it in the bank, because then I'm going to go to a small account where I'm not going to be making as much. Okay. So I wanted to kind of get ahead of the game, show the big traders, hey, how I can use the system to find the bigger moves, to find the bigger plays, to see and hold bigger positions and run $20, $50 to $116,000. Still closed out on my biggest day ever. Still was like, it was crazy. Like it was euphoric moments where I thought I was literally going to potentially hit 200K in the end of that day, and some rip back on a aftermarket, even weirder aftermarket move at 415. That was insanity to end up closing out the day at 116K. So big accounts this month, small accounts next month. Everybody makes sense? So share the news if people want to come see small account in July. Hopefully July the 5th, after July the 4th. I don't know what day that lands on yet. However, if I'm going to follow some tradition, and I also know that after 4th of July, that is just like I said today. Today's a holiday. Tomorrow, I anticipate, could be a really big and awesome day. Just historically for me, some of my absolute best days come after a midweek holiday. It's like there's some pent up, trading frustration, or the market's like, I got to make up for yesterday. And so it comes in with a vengeance. And it's going to be on a Thursday. So on a Thursday, we also have the normal non-farm payrolls and all that. All that gets kind of squished and compacted into Thursday and Friday of this week with a midweek Wednesday holiday. And July the 4th, I will start after the 4th of July holiday, and we'll small account challenge it that day. I have heard rumors that there is someone named Dakota who wants to take on a challenge. I hope it can be friendly. That would be amazing. So we'll do some comparisons against the clown shows and hopefully some friendly stuff there with Dakota. I don't know who he is, but I've heard apparently he is the educator for Top Step. So that's great, and compare and contrast styles. And if you like their style, fantastic. But we'll put up the numbers and we'll let people decide. Hoping to make sense of that screen one day. Well, we are trying to make this a bit easier with our new layout. So let me talk about, why. So we still have, here's what's going on here under the hood, right? I've got multiple time frames that I'm looking at. Here's my full screen going on here, and I also have some of our text chat here. We also have the newsroom on another tab off on the right. I've got the news, and we've got the MACV Ultimate. Let me bring that over. This is also an important one. I've got this just to the left of this screen here. So, but yes, we've got several layouts here where now we can zoom in on particular entry charts, and then kind of talk about, this is where kind of the where the real business is done. Want to see an Enigma entry in locations like that one right there, hitting this one right here, but like what's going on inside these and how do you know what your targeting is and all that kind of stuff. We'll be able to teach it a bit better with this layout, I think, and not be as overwhelming for people like yourself, J-Trade, who are like coming to this, never seen anything like this. Well, that's the whole point, is this is unlike anything you've ever seen. Halves and holes. It's going to be a little bit difficult here with all this. Maybe let's go down to the ones and see the ones is any clearer here for the moment. Oh my goodness. See this? So this is what I'm talking about. This would be establishing trend. Whatever way it's grinding, it's just going to continue to do that grind. But first, let me showcase through on some of those new features. We will also be showing off the trade copier a bit more as well. Some people don't know that there is a trade copier now inside of Algobox. How many of you guys are using that trade copier? Do you guys like it? I've heard really good things from performance side from everybody, you know, not even if you're not even on a 14900 like I'm on now. But speaking of performance stuff, I'm going to show you guys some really cool stuff. I've got 3 new application tools here. Let me kind of pull these up here for you. This one is called Hardware Info. You know, these things are not easy to deal with. I spent way too much time trying to figure out and deal with the overclocking and all that other kind of stuff there. This is called Process Lasso, and I'm going to talk to you guys about how cool this is. You can set your NinjaTrader to automatically go to high priority and go to performance cores without doing anything crazy. So Process Lasso, without having to deal with all of the stuff inside of your BIOS, this will automatically assign executables when they launch. Super cool. Quick CPU to unpark your cores. So this is quick CPU. This is kind of the one I start with when my PC launches. First thing I want to do is go up here. I'm going to click on this little 3 bars thing. I'm going to apply the max there. You're going to see that core parking go from 4%, where it can go as low as 4%, to accept. And now, boom, now I'm going to be using 100% the entire time. No core parking. That's going to be bumping this up here, and my P cores is the thing you really want to focus in on. P cores for me on a 14900 is going to go up to 5.7 with a spike to 6 gigahertz on 2 cores at a time. Is complicated, which is why I just want to use software. You guys know me. I like to simplify things instead of complicate them. And now, even right now, as I'm bumping this up here, I'm getting, you know, I'm getting that 5.7 across the board on all P cores. If you want to zoom in, and you can see that on Quick CPU. Very easy installation. Get your Quick CPU and then click that button to unpark your cores on any of those, anything 12900 or above. Trade copiers work well. Just one thing, because Apex, for example, wants stop losses on the trades. Would it be possible that the stop orders are actually copied to the other account? No. Gallus, that's actually not necessarily fully true. It is just a matter of, if you have some big loser where you've added to position, they're just trying to get away from CTA bots. If you don't know what a CTA bot is, yeah, it's basically dollar cost averaging. CTA is the dollar cost average bot, where they're continuously adding to position using the entire account as the stop. It does not matter. And if you have a bracket on using your leader account, and your leader account has the bracket there, and it hits that stop, it will close out the other positions as well. It's not that you had a hard stop in the market. They're not being like, does every trade have a hard stop? No, it's, did you close out the position after less than a 3-to-1 is their whole rule thing. Now, at the same time, I'm not going to speak for them. I'm not going to, you know, Daryl can decide whether you're going to make money or not. Okay, I don't like that about the whole trader funding thing, but it is what it is. That's what you get. There's pros and cons to everything in life. Trade copier is excellent. Awesome. Happy to hear it. Works like a charm. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it. On sim, stops are local only, right? That's correct. That's correct, George. However, if they're live, if you're in live market on a live account, those bracket orders actually exist on the stock exchange. And now there is an option inside of NinjaTrader. You have to go in there and turn it off, and they actually even say right now it's experimental. They can keep it local to you if you're one of those people who, you know, are nervous that your stops are being, you know, chased. Then you can have it executed local as well. It's local OCOs. Gallus, well, then the copier is great, saving the money for Replicanto. Yeah, there you go. And again, those other Replicantos and some of the others, they have other features. We're not saying that we're the absolute best overall, everything. We would need to, I personally would create multiple trade copiers if I was wanting to do what they're doing. There's some things like, okay, if you take an entry on the NASDAQ, then execute it on the micro of the NASDAQ, MNQ. Like, there's some weird translation thing. If I take 10 contracts on my main account, I want to take half in my others. Okay, all those little weird features. I don't even know. I don't understand what the strategy is with people doing those things. I'm sure there's some strategy in there for it. I don't take the time to bother. If I want one contract, I want one contract. I want 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, etc. I don't. I'm sure there's some strategy in that to do halvesies and all that. I don't. Our system, you know, I didn't design it to do that. It is just straight 1 for 1. You enter on one, you get it on the other. Straightforward. So from a performance perspective, we had the least amount of code effort in there, which means the maximum amount of performance. Everybody understand that? So less features, less things to do checks on, and less things to move around, less moving parts, data inputs, less data feed information, just straight to straight. You get one on one account, it's getting it on the other. In my opinion, that's what everybody's trying to do with these trader funding programs to begin with, is just getting 20 times the amount of money for the same trade. right? So instead of making $100, I want to make $2,000, literally times 20. So the trade copier is straight copy, one for one. All right, so first thing, quick CPU will unpark your cores, and also will handle a power profile if your PC is not going to high performance. It does those two things for you. That is quick CPU. Second one I want to show is Process Lasso. So Process Lasso for me is a new awesome game changer, particularly on Windows 11, now that I am on one of the 1400 series things, because of the concept between performance cores and efficiency cores. I want to break this down in Vinny's way, because I am so tired of reading online of all the complicated stuff that everybody else wants to explain things. Like, why can't they just keep it simple, right? To me, I'm going to do this for you right now. I'm going to do it for you. Once you finally understand what's going on here in these newer things, you have two core types. All their extra performance is coming from, you'll hear this concept of P cores. So the P stands for performance, basically what you're actually paying for. And the E cores are extra for extra stuff, but they call them efficiency. Oh, it's efficiency core. Well, efficiently, I mean, I want my PC to run efficiently, but yeah, they use that concept. It's basically econo. Don't save my energy. Don't be fast. Okay, these are significantly slower. How do you easily make this happen? Well, you can go in the BIOS, and well, you can go into BIOS and you can like tweak those out, and you can I still want the E-cores there to run things like my OBS and maybe run my music running in the background, my browser stuff. Okay, now let's talk about, I'll start with the lowest. So for instance, for me, the E-cores these run at 4.4 gigahertz. Now you guys know my thing. What if I told you the lowest for our system, if you want it to run at its beast mode, what's the slowest we want is a 4.5 gigahertz, right? So I don't want NinjaTrader to run on the E-cores at all. So first I'm gonna start with the concepts, and then trust me, I'm gonna show you how easy this is to do this. I know it's gonna get complicated right now, but follow through. P and E, I simply just do not want NinjaTrader here on E. Okay, depending on which one you get, if you got a 12900, 11900, the 13900, 14900, each one is different numbers of cores, but I'll show you mine on these two little apps here that make it clear. So I just want to stop NinjaTrader from going here, and I want it always to go here. Get the idea and the concept, and now I'm going to show you how we do that. And let's write, well, with the P cores. My P cores, well, when you dig into the details of it, they have what's called favorable cores. Don't even get me started. Don't even. After learning all of the BS that's in this whole thing and all the marketing and all the kind of whatnot, luckily, or I don't know, good or bad, this is the last series. The 14900 is the absolute last in this series where they are doing a single die chip. This is the last one. And then they're going to multi-die like AMD has done in the past. So this is it. This is as fast as it's ever going to get. 6 gigahertz, 6.2 if you got the KS special edition, the 14900, and then this will be it. Last time you ever get motherboard with single die. And this only allows two favorable. Two of them can spike to, and these do not stay at 6 gigahertz. They just can on occasion spike to this. And yes, for all the people who are like, well, you got to undervolt it, Vinny, you got to undervolt it. I hate all of you. I literally hate all of you. Oh, you got to undervolt. Like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Oh yeah, everybody knows how to do that. So they say, well, you can still achieve that by undervolting, so don't have the multiplier as high. Why not just say, and then say specifically, like down the multiplier by how many volts? Like be specific. Is it 1 volt? Is it 2 volt? I don't even care. I'm not even going to play around with it. I'm done with it. I'm not even going to try to deal with it. I'm not going to try to keep it up there at 6 gigahertz, but it only allows you to pop up on 2 of those at any point up to 6 gigahertz. So now that all the nerds are satisfied and I have pissed off everyone, I want to now, how do I force NinjaTrader to only use my P cores, Vinny, right? That's the question. Oh, don't worry. Process Lasso comes to the rescue. Very cool app. All I got to do is come here into this little mid section here that looks like your normal Process Explorer. I'm going to move this over here to the right so you can see it. And I am going to scroll down until I see ninjatrader.exe, which is currently running. This should look familiar, kind of like if you were looking in your task manager to go, I want to kill task, right? There it is, NinjaTrader EXE inside this little mid list here on all your processes. I'm going to right click NinjaTrader executable. CPU priority, first thing at the very top of this list, there is current and there's always. Well, don't we want to always? All right, so now right click, set priority, always. See, there's current, set to high, always. That's because in here, I went to always and I set this thing to always be high as a kite. Okay, so here we go, bright mode, set priority, always, and I'm gonna set it to high, done. And this cool little feature down here, Windows dynamic thread priority boosts enabled. So this happens to deal with that whole favorable thing that I told you about earlier, that it can dynamically boost certain things. Yes, I want that enabled so that it can potentially go up to 6 gigahertz, but if it gets 5.7, I'm happy on the P cores, right? So boom, high priority number 1. Now you're like, Vinny, I already know how to do that. Yeah, but let me show you the cool part. Affinity. A lot of people don't know what affinity is. This is the magical word for what we want to do. It's called affinity, and we want to set the affinity to always use certain CPUs. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to set CPU affinity, and I'm going to do always. And at the very, very top of this whole thing, I want to click on select CPU affinity. Select CPU affinity. Okay. When you do that, opens up a new window, because this is weird for me. Originally, I was like, okay, it's making me click each one of these individually, and it kept going off, and I had to do this over and over. Well, when you do select CPU affinity, you get this nice little checklist. And now I'll zoom us back in. So now once we are in this CPU affinity, they've got some really cool buttons right here. Look, there's a P cores button. Finally, somebody figured out what we wanted to do and make it easy. Thank you very much. Yes, I want to P core this thing. Boom, click on P cores, done. Watch, if I click E cores, you see how it shifts the list? There's your E cores. And yes, remember how I said there's a lot of them? There's 16, but they start with 0. Don't even get me started on the whole like, oh, we're coders, we start with 0 because 0 is the first number. All right, so CPU 0 through 15, I want them here, and it's as simple as click on P cores. So guess what? NinjaTrader is now going to always do that. Now, I've also created a cool little thing. If you want to be in there and be cool like me, I went CPU affinity, always gonna go into select CPU affinity, and I gave it a name. So you can imagine one of them is Ninja VM. I wonder what OBS might be. I bet Vinny probably took the OBS and set all of them to be on the E cores, I bet. Is that what he did? Yes, that's exactly what we did. So I created 2 profiles to split stuff off, OBS and other things. I put music on the E cores. I put my browser with my news, the other one. But the main thing is just at least that you get NinjaTrader up on the P cores. Make sense? Okay, so that is setting the affinity. Very cool little app there for Process Lasso. So let me show you kind of on OBS. Again, those who are like, Vinny, well, I don't want to use up my CPU to record my stuff. That's why I don't record for you. And I'm like, okay, set the affinity. Cool, no problem. OBS, that's our recording tool, right? So always. And if I go up to the very top, you notice all these have E's next to them. They're already checked. I just set my, and by the way, it does this all the time now. So, and you can do that with any apps on your PC. So any other apps that you want to, put a little bit slower, 4.4 gigahertz is still fast. I mean, that's not slow. So it's a great processor. But if I want NinjaTrader all the way up, you know what I'm saying? CPU Z, I don't know why all the overclockers tell me to go do this. I think it's because of this one feature bench right here. You can run this little bench test thing. I can click on bench CPU, and all of a sudden you'll see your cores run up real fast. Mine are kind of 5 maximum. Is that average 5.6? Yeah, so ours are staying up pretty good. But if I wanted to make sure it did it, I could click on this bench. I don't know that you really need this CPU Z. I would make this one optional, but there is a really cool thing. Go right here to bench, and if you want to run yours, you got the stress CPU, very easy to use, and then bench your CPU. If you want to see what I'm going to show you next to run this thing up, that's going to be this app called Hardware Info. Now I can see, if you look real closely, we go from right here, there's a line from P cores, and you'll see these running at my 5.7, right? And then these running at, looks like 4.2, but you'll see max, they were hitting 4.4. Again, they still kind of reg themselves down a bit, and I don't like that they ramp up. And yes, you can tweak and you'll go crazy on it if you want, go into your BIOS and all that, but just XMP level 2 turned on in the BIOS or full overclocking, left everything else stopped, and then use these apps to make sure that NinjaTrader was. So all the new features and stuff that we talked about in the video, I know this says 996.2, but we're currently on 996.3. The last 2 on this list here are 2 new features. Everything else was more of a bug fix for things that we had already put up in here. Everything from the time regions. The fiddle zone now has additional features for you to change which MacVU algo bar level that you want to put it on. So that can be helpful for, say, the ES if you want to be different than the NASDAQ. And our suggestions are set up there on the left-hand side of Discord if you want to look into those. Or in our first series of training videos, we tell you kind of what my current suggestions are for any of that kind of. The no fiddle zone, very cool. That is biggest plays. I don't say the best plays, because the thing is there are plenty of plays that you see me take. I'm gonna grab bags, right? I'm a P90 player in video games. I'm going to go in with a machine gun and fire inside of this plays. But if you're a sniper player, these peaks are for you, okay? There's your sniper shot, there's your sniper shot, there's your sniper shot, there's your sniper shot. Makes sense? That's 4 sniper shots. And if you come over here, that's 5, and there's 6. There's 6 sniper shots on the high side, 9 in the current visibility over the last numbers of days. 9 sniper shot. This is a really cool system for sniper plays, or if this does play this area as a P90 guy, I can switch over and grab my sniper rifle and take a big shot. Makes sense? The new fiddle zone, while it will automatically draw this for you, and if you want to bring these forward, by the way, click on them, hold shift and scroll back, and now you see how they got brighter. You can pull those forward or backward however you like, holding shift and your scroll wheel on your mouse to change the visibility on that. The fiddle zone itself is now able to be projected onto your entry system. So if you are a sniper player, only want to take sniper plays, then you would take sniper shot, this section right here. Why? Because it's black. Over here, it's faded. Here, it's faded. So that fiddle zone will now project for you the lower time frame if you want to take only those best plays in there. Yeah, I can give an example. I can skip that Enigma because it's in the gray area. Because look, this one ends up, ends up, stopping out. Not the best play. Now, sure, it ends up working out and getting to its target. Time regions, that's a very cool feature. That's going to give me these warnings. That's a 2-minute warning. That's this vertical section right here that will tell me before various events, such as the 350 algo, such as the shift in the middle of the day, the 940 to 950, the open, the coffee time. All those can get warned for you there with the time regions. The Enigma target line parameter is new. Now you can backtest these quickly to not have to wonder, well, did that go 20 ticks or not? Well, if it broke through the little dashed blue line, then the answer is yes. Makes sense? So target line, and you can change that to whatever you want. I default it to 20 because that's just how I do. I want to get 20 ticks out of an Enigma. Up to you how you want to do, and depending on what the market's given. If the market is at high speed and opening up and widening out, or if it's staying nice and narrow, you can visually, make that decision on your own, which is why we think that Cyborg is still the best way to execute. Okay, the rest of these I went over in the video. There's position manager fixes. There are new buttons though. Let's talk about those. These new buttons, brackets, add stop, naked. So I have found myself multiple times when I'm like, okay, I need to get my stops out of the way. Market's on a march, and only when I'm in a large account. These are more large account playground here. Okay, this is not really for the small accounts. At the same time, if you find a way you want to use this on a small account, fine. At the same time, I would recommend if you're on a small account, just use the ATMs. However, once I'm going large account and I want to size into something, this is also not going to work on trader funding programs because they have all kinds of rules around DCA. You can't add to position, blah, 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 blah. Boring. But anyhow, but when you're the big boss, you might need these new 3 buttons here. Okay, and let me execute on some of these here. I'm going to go quantity 2 here. And let's say that I have an ATM. We'll go 4 small. Okay. And I'm going to punch the buy button. Okay. So you know the drill usually. Cool. I'm going to see my orders up there, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to add more to that position. Then all of a sudden market starts coming against me real quick. I'm like, okay, hold on. I might need to reassess. Now I've got additional buttons. You guys see me use stack 30. That's what I tend to use so that my stops will stay and I can move them around. I can press spread and I can spread them out. I can do stack 30, put them all together. I can spread them back out again, all that kind of whatnot, which is very handy. We can also do every other tick far. I can click those out. I can do each tick far, get them all lined up. We can go move them out even farther, spread them out, etc., etc. Very, very cool buttons here. Now, why would I want to use these? Well, okay, let's say I want to go naked. Boom, press naked. Boop. Naked means take off my brackets. Ah, Connie's naked. Okay, well, let's say that I only want stops because I want to exit manually. This is something that you might do in a big account if you're trying to hit home runs. Make sense? Sniper fire, some risk on situation, you're well up, and you want to do something like this. Again, I'm not recommending anybody do anything. I'm just telling you guys what I do. Don't forget that, okay? So I press naked. Well, now, you know what? I kind of want to add my stop now. I want a hard stop, so I literally can now press add stop. I don't have to go over there and right-click the chart, put it in a location. This is going to default to 30 ticks away, and then you can move it wherever you want. Okay, so now I can move it back. I can stack 20. Actually, I don't think this works after that. It only works on the ATM, so these buttons no longer function if you are using this because it is a market order that was not submitted by the ATM linked to an OCO. Okay, so be careful of that. Now, if I want to go naked again, pull those out, I can also bracket it. If I have removed it and changed my mind and I want to change those, these also still do not work on that bracket. We may add that feature in the future, but for now, those no longer function. So if you go start using these buttons, you got to know what you're doing. So basically these 3 buttons, warning, be careful. Makes sense? You got to know what you're doing, but if you wanted to use them, you can quickly go naked. You can add just a stop. You can remove the stop. I can add more for whatever reason. If I wanted to reverse into that position, go 4 times in the opposite direction, we can do that. And you do need to press naked 2 times in order to remove all. Otherwise it goes back to your baseline, and there's your bracket order. I can add a bracket instantly and get those to move however I want, but I can easily add the brackets. And of course you could do multiples, and then we go naked and press it 1 time, we all disappear. But if we do stop, I have to press it twice. Make sense? Okay, that's a tour around some of those new features and new buttons. What am I missing? We covered a lot here during the session. Questions, comments? We're right at 57 minutes. Thanks for hanging out. It is Juneteenth. I'm going to go head out in the pool, get some sun. You guys should do the same. Don't forget, tomorrow, it is the day after a holiday. So, again, could be some of the best opportunities, in my opinion. So check it out. Save some mental capital. Get some good rest here tonight. I'll catch you back in the morning. Don't forget, Enigma is gone on July the 1st. If you are wanting to get Enigma will no longer be available. We'll do a new installation on July the 1st, only for premium members, and free trial members will not be getting Enigma anymore after July the 1st. Thanks for hanging out. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis, G, and Eddie B, I'm sending out the Big H-Town. See ya! Art team, show them how it's done.
The old adage where, the individual investor doesn't have a chance because the institutional investor has better technology, better information, and, more money and better opportunity, I don't think it's real anymore. I think the edge is on the individual investor because they're small, they're nimble, they can trade, they can use that, they have both front-end technology.
Don't waste your time. Leave the technical analysis to us. You just play the game.